Hello, grade 12s. This is Mr. Thornborough. I hope that you guys had a good March break. Right now, as you're listening to this, I'm at the airport trying to get out of town. But what I want to do today is I want to give you a tutorial on how to hand in your marketing campaign and just go over a few details that I think maybe are still a little hazy, okay? I've got the poster here. I've got the tickets and how we're going to hand them in, as well as the ad, and I want to explain how to hand them in. Not to mention the fourth item of your choice. Okay, so first I'm going to start with the poster. And I'm sorry if today is going to be maybe painfully long. I am going to talk quite a bit, but what I'm hoping is that you can just suffer through it today, but then you can always just refer back to my YouTube channel to look up the video, and you can just refer back to it as you're handing it in. And really, technically, everybody should be able to hand in everything properly, okay? So what I've got is I've got the poster here, and how it's built, as you know, if this thing will work. Oh, okay, good. We've got the background here, and you can see my layers and so forth, as well as my masthead was in a separate Photoshop file, and then the type I added in InDesign. Okay, so. And that's exactly how it is here. I've got the type, and I've got the head, and I've got my type. And this is in InDesign. This is just another Photoshop file. Now, if I go out of my preview mode here, you will see that the poster is too big. Okay, there is my the edge of my paper, and the thing extended over by 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so if I were to look at the coordinates up here at the left, that on the page, if I click on it, on the page, that it's minus 0.125 by minus 0.125. It's kind of in negative space over here by 1/8 of an inch. And when you do that and you make the document too big, then it should extend by 1/8 of an inch all the way around. This is the bleed that we're giving the printer in case they are off when they cut it. Then we will have a little bit of margin of error for them. Okay, how you hand this file in is going to be probably the most complicated way, and I'm just going to I'll just show you that right now. All I'm going to do is we're going to not hand in the InDesign file. I want the go File and Export. And the default here is going to be as a PDF interactive. We don't want that. You can actually do websites or interactive little media out of InDesign. We actually want to do a PDF print, because this thing is going to get printed by a printer. We'll go to the hand in folder now. I made a hand in folder. Hand in me and grade 12 Comtech and marketing campaign. Nothing there. Poster, make sure your name is on it. Okay, and then we hit save. Now is where maybe it gets a little bit complicated. You have all these different these settings, and you can have higher quality stuff. There's other settings here. Or if you're sending a big file but you really want to reduce the size of it to show your client, because you got to send it over the email, you can reduce the resolution of stuff, but we're just going to leave it high quality. And we're going to just go down to marks and bleeds. All I'm going to do is I'm going to check marks. And so this is really, you're going to do the crop marks and the bleed marks. We don't necessarily need bleed marks. In fact, I'm going to turn them off, but you don't have to. You just have to do the one. Registration mark, color bars, page information. That's good. Now, bleed and slug. Slug, don't worry about that. That's more for an information thing if you're sending an ad or something. We're just going to do, we're going to add some bleed here. And so we're going to just add 0.125. You could add more if you want, but we only gave 1/8 of an inch all the way around, so 0.125 all the way around. Okay, and so if I do that, and I have my crop marks, I have my bleed, and if I hit export now, then I should have, if I go to my hand-in folder here, so I have a file that's about 5 megs in size. That's good. And then I'm just going to double click and see what we got. Okay, so you're going to see that, let's get rid of that. We're going to see that we've got, you've got our trim marks here, and you've got some bleed on top of that, and these are a color bar just to help the printer establish, like when they're printing, just to make sure that they can calibrate their printer okay. And so that's how you would hand in a poster. And the InDesign is adding all the crop marks in automatically. Next, the tickets. Okay, let's go to the tickets. I only have one here, just because I want to just double check with you how the proper way of setting it up. So I just have one, and you'll notice here that when I've done my crop marks myself, and you can't see them on the preview here, but they are actually there. If I zoom in, you'll see them. So if I zoom in, oh yeah, it is there. Oh, it doesn't have any attributes. Maybe I should give it a line length there. Yeah, that helps. Okay, I'll fix the others in a second. So I have my bleed, and you'll notice though I have my crop marks here, but I just have a white line here. That's because this picture is like a full picture, and if I were to actually have this thing butt up against the crop marks, and oops, sorry. If I were to just have that guy butt up against here and the printer was off by a little bit, you would see maybe some of these edges here. So what I've just done is just eliminated that. If I were to, let's back up. If I were just to leave that edge white and just bring my picture in a little bit, that's totally okay. I don't need as much information on the ticket as I did on the poster. This is actually the information used for the poster. It had the date and where it's going to be and how you buy tickets and so forth. Now, once you've got the ticket, maybe it's a good idea. You've got the date of the show. I purposely didn't put the year in case I use this in other years. I've got the date that they need to show up, the cost of the tickets just in case, and then where they got to be. So everything for the ticket is there. Now you'll notice though that the top butts up against here, and the bottom here I've just kind of left as a little graphic element here. And you'll notice that this kind of butts up here and this up here. I kind of did that on purpose because I know what I'm doing. What I'm going to do is I know that I've got lots of room in this picture here, so I just thought it'd be kind of cool if I purposely let this thing bleed too far, and the top of that actually becomes the bottom of this, and everything. And so if the printer's off by a little bit, well, that works anyways. So let's we can just go ahead and do that. So first I need to duplicate them. So let's go back, and actually I'm going to give this guy some attributes, and I guess I missed that one there, and just go 0.5. All right. So I'm selecting everything here that I need. I probably don't need these guys anymore. There we go. And I'm just going to, I could just go copy and paste and move it over. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go hold down the Alt key while the Move tool is selected. And then I just click and drag. And if I hold down the Shift key while I do it, then it forces it to be on a 45 or a 90. Okay. We can see. So now I know that if I'm off by a little bit, then I certainly have a margin, certainly a good margin of error here. And I see that it didn't do it perfectly. I'm going to just make that perfect. Now let's go here. I'm going to select both of them and then just move them both over. And let's just make sure that I'm right on target by zooming in. And there we go. And that sounds pretty good there. Now I'm just going to take all 4 of these guys, and then I'm going to move them down, and you'll see that that kind of butts up. Now this isn't perfect. I know it's time to add in the bleed. So in these guys here, the roof of here, I'm going to just bleed those out. Whoops, just make sure I got that. Now it's important that you have the this tool, the move tool, selected while you have that, and then I'll just do the very, very bottom while I'm at it. Okay, because the middle is going to be the part that's more complicated. All right, and these don't have to be perfect. If one's bigger than the other, it doesn't matter. It's all going to get trimmed off anyways, right? And so this is the interesting part. All I'm going to do is this guy here. I'm going to just delete that, and then this guy is going to expand higher and than that. Okay, and then it'll automatically snap to edges that are already there. So if I go here and if I drag this up, it'll snap to that line that's already been established. So I can go ahead and delete these. Okay, so even though it's going to get trimmed there, this is now the bottom of that ticket. Did it on purpose. I was being fancy. Okay, so that's my ticket. I'm going to make that one a bit more. Okay, so now let's export this. I'm going to, let's save it. Going to go File and Export just like the poster, but we've already added in our trim marks manually. We did that by ourselves, so all I'm going to do is go File and Export. And yes, it's PDF print. It's there from the last time that we did it. Let's go to the hand-in folder. And Grade 12 Comtech and Mr. T. Okay, now your marks and bleeds, it's still like this from the last time that I did it. So just click off. Okay, if it's the first one, if you've just logged in, and then these preferences won't be there, but it's just because I just did the poster that the preferences are the same. It just kind of remembers what you did last time. So just make sure everything's back to 0 and this is turned off. And then if you hit export, then you'll be good. You've already added in the bleed manually, and you've already added in the trim marks manually. So if we take a look at that, beauty. Okay, it's there. It's just a regular old PDF. Okay. Okay. The add. So what I did here, and the add, and I'm going to actually dismantle this a little bit. Okay. The add is 8 by 5. I left it just a good regular number, and there's my add size, and then I'm just going to make sure that my coordinates are, or my measurement is 8 and then 5, and that's the size of my add. Okay, say if you didn't actually do it in you haven't converted your thing to inches yet, make sure that you go to Edit and Preferences and go to Units, Increments, and switch it to inches there. Or if you're in Picas, if you actually just typed in 8 and then the inch mark, InDesign is smart enough to know that. So let's just, I'm just going to give this a color just to kind of so we can see what I've got here. Going to send it to the back. Arrange, send it back. Now, and this is going to be the size of my ticket. Sorry, my ad. I just took elements from the poster, and so I took the type from the poster. I took the background and this and the title, and I've already done. I'm not going to bore you by just adjusting this because I've already adjusted it here and I extended it out. But all I'm going to do is I'm going to paste that in. I can use my free transform tool in order to scale it down to my ad size. Now my trouble is that when I designed this poster a long time ago, we didn't do an ad, and so there isn't enough horizontal space. So how do I account for that extra horizontal space? Like, how do I make a vertical poster horizontal? You kind of saw what I did there. So let's go zoom in a little bit here. And now this is the size of the poster. I'm going to just crop in just with the selection tool, the move tool. I call it the move tool because that's what it's called in a few other programs of Adobe, but in this it's called like the direct selection tool or something. And so I'm just going to snap that to the edge here. And then I can just make the, if I click on the white arrow tool, then I can move the microphone around in here. And then I've got my bounding box. I can make it larger. These are all lessons that I'm hoping that you're already going to know. And that we have covered them in class, but I'm just doing a little bit of review for you in this. So then now I've got my ads. Now I've just got a good solution that it's just an easy go-to. I've got this vertical poster using the artwork for the vertical poster, but I've got all this extra space over here. And maybe if this was like, you could have like it white over here, and then you'd have like your information over here, and then you have like a picture over here. I wanted to get this title as big as possible, and I wanted just to kind of expand over the edge. So I thought it was a good idea to just take the color of this, and I'm just going to use the eyedropper tool, and I'm just going to take the darkest color from here. And oh, I got the wrong thing selected maybe. Let's move that guy out of the way. Make sure I got that selected. And then I just sucked up the color from the darkest element there. And then I'm going to make that so the color of this kind of carries over from the color of this. And so I'm just going to move that back to where it was. This I'm going to move to the front, arrange, bring to the front. Okay. Now I do have a little bit of extra room over here to play with. I think it's just like a real tension area if I put it here. I kind of want to in a way, but I got a little bit of tension right here, so I'm just going to not worry about it. Maybe if I did it about there. No, I'm just going to put it there. Otherwise, I'm just trying to break the tension in the picture. If I had my way, this is just a quick and down and dirty solution. I could fade these edges in the Photoshop file, but this is a quick down and dirty solution. Now, this ad is 8 inches by 5 inches, but I have put it on a 8.5 by 11 page horizontal. Why have I done that? Why have I just not made the page of my InDesign file 8 inches by 5 inches? Well, frankly, because you don't need to. I'm just going to save this file down. Okay, and then I'm going to export it. You do not need to do trim marks on ads. I'm just going to bring that in. There we go. All right. And then Mr. T ad. And then our settings are still good from the tickets. It's just a plain old PDF. Now, why didn't I do that? Well, because say this is an ad that's going to go in a magazine, and the person has made a magazine and it's like 100 pages long, and they've got their articles, they have their spreads and everything, but you have sent them an ad, a half-page ad to fit into maybe this page right here. So all I'm going to do is that designer would just go File and Place, and then they would go to the hand-in folder or wherever they're keeping their files. And then grade 12, and then I'm going to get the ad, and then here it is right here. They've just imported the PDF in just like you would like a normal picture. They just click in there, and then they just fit it to their size, okay? And they would just fit it to whatever. Obviously, it doesn't match our margins here, but that's okay. Okay, so that's why that is. Now, the last item, the item of your choice. I don't necessarily need you to do it as a certain format. For example, let's say your last item is a t-shirt. I just need you to do a mock-up of it. So for example, here's the artwork I did for the t-shirt for the school play. And this is actually what I sent to the printer, but I don't need you to worry about that. When I was showing the teachers what the shirt was going to look like people are dumb. They cannot visualize what things are going to look like on a t-shirt. So what you have to do is just spell it out for them. And what I did is you actually come up with a mock-up. You just go grab a t-shirt off of Google and you take your artwork and then you slap it onto on the actual t-shirt. Please keep in mind how this thing is going to be printed. Like I would never put a whole poster on here. It's obvious that this is looking pretty simplified. It's a simplified version of the head. So I have a pretty good knowledge of how things are printed. So, and you work in like what's more expensive, what's less expensive. I don't necessarily expect you to know that, but I'm just going to ask you, maybe just try to simplify the artwork if you're going to put it on a t-shirt. Okay, so and you just hand in your mock-up. I don't care if it's a PDF or a JPEG. Okay, so that's it. The assignment's due on Wednesday. Good luck, and I will be coming to you with a new video tutorial, new assignment on Thursday. Okay, good luck with that, and have a good week.